Hi there, welcome to the Noah Presgrove case. Today what we're focusing in on is a continued theme of partygoers searching for Noah once they realised he was missing. The locations, the steps taken and the directions. I'm going to be briefly applying that today on a map analysis style, whilst also complementing it with what Brooke Bounds Carter had to say in recent time in regards to what partygoers did. We've seen the odd little timestamp here and there of interest, such as around 4:30 a.m. on Monday, with the Snapchat post of Carter Combs, Logan Jernigan, that being taken after the search. So just a bit before 4:30, making it back home to the party house. So earlier on, but after 3:41, I'm guessing, a search was conducted, which lasted about an hour long. So that puts things into perspective. A 1 hour long search is quite thorough, and for it to yield no successful results at the time makes you wonder, where did they go? What did they look for? In what direction? And I can apply a bit of that today. So be sure to stick around so you're focused in and you don't miss out on anything. Welcome to those that are currently watching this live premiere. Share your reactions in the live chat box right hand side of the screen. And after watching this at the end, be sure to drop a comment down below to let me know your thoughts, whether you agree, disagree, and if you've got any additional questions, and I can always respond back. And if there is time today, I might possibly look back at some previous comments if they do just happen to link on with today's video. But we can also acknowledge some additional posts and screenshots too in regards to a transcript from the Partners in True Crime last interview that they did with Jack Newton. And we did briefly have a quick look at that, a clip from yesterday, which was done by Michael Facecats. So it's quite relevant to the current themes of what we're getting at. Once again, it's to talk about the highway, the direction of Noah, the theme of him being missing and people searching for him. So that's what it's going to be. Also, down below, if you want to support this channel, there will be a pinned message by me with additional links to follow. Shout out and credit to those that have done so in recent time. And if you are interested in recent coverage by me, top right corner of the screen up there, click on that eye symbol and you'll be able to find the full playlist of this case and the coverage that I've done. But more so, you'll find the previous videos from yesterday and the day before, all very important, some of which never seen before, and other parts never been structured in a certain timeline before until I came along and added some additional things too. Now, in terms of Popski, I know Popski kept referring to a new hat. Get a new hat, upgrade yourself, get something different. No, man, we're not upgrading with hats. No. Some people may be wondering, has someone been giving you a few 20s in your pocket? My question to that would be, which pocket? Because I've got a couple on me right now. The left, right, or rear pocket. Oh boy, risky. Now, reality is, don't tell anyone, Brooke Bounds Carter has been supplying me with 3 hair extensions. Okay, so it's very good. Now, I do question it though with Brooke Bounds Carter because I don't know if it's supposed to be like normal hair or it's from like horse hair. It is getting a bit itchy. No, not developing any rashes. And no, I've not been touching any frogs either, Donna Bond. All under control there. But we'll just see how it goes. And if it does get a little bit, I don't know, complicated or messy, I'm sure Strawberry, expert with hair and handling it, can resolve any issues. And Strawberry, you're welcome to give your opinion on this style. Is it good enough? And yes, you can be honest. Don't worry. You can share all your thoughts here, and that applies to anyone else. Let me just make one thing very clear. If there are any petty individuals that have an issue with this, well, not my problem. Ask Brooke Bounds Carter for some hair extensions. But no, in all seriousness, if any people do whinge, whine or complain, because I know that will happen somewhere at least, and probably Reddit, is instead of focusing on me Okay, instead of focusing on these eyes, yeah, because I know some people do. Yeah, I can see you just like how you can see me. Don't focus on the hair. Focus on what's at hand, the case, the discussion. Whether this is seen as some kind of test of focus or test of might. Let's just begin with the case right now, because that's where it more so matters. Here we are, Noah Presgrove's Army Page by Joyce Burgow, 1st of January 2025, fairly recent. This was one I had on my mind to cover, but had to push it back a bit with the recent activity and whatnot. But to be honest, it's actually perfect timing to cover it with everything what we've looked at recently and how it links to that interview. So, which photo do we look at first? So the caption, Jack Newton stated that they saw him walk off towards the highway down that gravel road. This appears to be some kind of transcript. We'll get to the top one later. Back and forth. Did he do that? Did that happen? Lot that got around a little bit. Did anyone see him walk? Yes, so Logan walked outside and she watched him walk. Right. So what's highlighted in yellow, at least, is what Jack is getting at, where it says Logan walked outside and saw Noah walk away. Walking towards the highway. Did he go down the street or did he go through the field? She said she walking down gravel road. My God. And people say transcripts are good. This transcript, the language and wording is more dodgy than some of the Facebook posts and comments when trying to understand it. My goodness. But in terms of who's saying what, it doesn't mention the names, but it's kind of, I kind of know who's saying what, right? I remember Jack referring to Logan's name, and that was the very first time round Logan's name was brought into it as for being a witness to Noah walking away down the gravel road towards the highway. Then I didn't know how long went by. I got word about him, so everybody started looking for him and didn't find him. Stop for a second. Did you guys ever hear that Logan was the last person to see Noah walk off? No, I was told it was. Him and didn't find him. Stop for you guys. Last person, okay. Last person to see Noah walk off. No, I was told it was. Avery told you it was Avery. Jasmine said that it was Avery. Yeah, so it kind of like reference points to what I brought up in the past as well. That's pretty much it. So, walking towards the highway, which would be east. Now, to walk towards the highway doesn't exactly mean to go onto the highway. You're just going in that direction. It's what's before the highway that's important. Railroad tracks. Then before that would be the house on the left, whether it's in use or not. Obviously, the fields nearby if there was an access point, if Noah was to use that. Now, the top piece here, which is interesting, and it's actually from... where's it from? Is it from my video? Yeah, it's probably from my video because it's a screenshot that says 1 hour, 58 minutes. And who else is going to be doing a video that long? Me. But this is what was interesting by Brooke Bounds Carter, saying, I never said Noah was walking towards the highway. I don't recall any of the kids saying that either. Well, that's just based off what Brooke can remember. Don't mean to say that she's a liar or she's 100% wrong. It's just what she can recall. And it just so happened what's recalled by Jack and what's mentioned roughly within the transcripts is that the mention of walking towards the highway. So when Brooke says, I've never said he was, fair enough, but I don't recall any kids saying it, well, kids did say it. The adults or teenagers did refer to it in some way or another. Still, don't mean to say that Noah went onto the highway, he was just heading in that direction. He could have gone so far, faded off into the darkness because of the lack of light, and then stop. Turn around, sit down, go into a field, do whatever, or come across someone at that point and it was too late. Brooke does say that the partygoers did drive on the side of the highway looking for him. They stopped at the first sand plant entrance on the highway looking for him, which would have been little more than half a mile from him. LE have their phone pings there as well. We know of the phone pings how close they got to him while searching. I was never told any of the kids drive a vehicle while searching. Wait, I was never told any of the kids were driving a vehicle while searching. Oh, so let me just see. They were looking down the highway. So you're telling me that besides Noah, party goers actually physically walked down the highway in the dark without driving a vehicle? Driving a vehicle would be more practical and a little bit more safer. I say a little bit because it can be dangerous out there in the dark. And if you stop, if you park, and if you've got lighting on, it's sufficient enough. But I'd understand not driving because the kids had been drinking, or some of them at least. But then again, if you got Carter Combs, who's a designated driver and wasn't having alcohol at the time, then at least she may have been able to, I don't know, drive down with other people in the back as passengers, possibly. But interesting, never told any of the kids were driving a vehicle whilst searching. So walking around on foot sounds, I don't know, a little dangerous, just in my opinion. What are the comments then? We might as well acknowledge that. Do I do all? Hopefully it doesn't glitch. Like last time, Justin Roy says, oh look, another lie from Brooke Carter. Weird. She's good at that. Deflection, manipulation as well. Has claimed she would do anything for them girls. Well, it's showing. What, so making it up about people going out searching? Because if they're going out searching, it makes them look more innocent and like they truly care. Is that what you're referring to, Justin? Or highlighting possibly. Joyce responds, well, they really should listen to Jack Newton's interview. Also, they should figure out which one saw him walk off, or was it both? Yeah, so at one point it was interpreted that it was Jack that saw Noah walk away. And then later on, it was supposedly Logan. But then also a reference to Jasmine Milan referring to Avery being the last person to see Noah walk off. Who was it? Or was it multiple people? I mean, if it was multiple people, it would make sense because Logan, Avery linked to Noah, because the last known thing before Noah walked away was supposedly the bedroom sleeping debacle. Can I sleep in your bed? No. Can I sleep in your bed? No. You're a fat beep. And then walk away. You can see how it links. The psychological effect and guidance, the direction of where it leads one person to elsewhere, maybe following somebody for the right or wrong reasons. To talk, to hang out, to have it out with them, does make you think possibly. And I know Justin will say once again, Noah wouldn't walk away just for that one reason. Yeah, but Caden said Noah would walk away normally if he had been drunk and a bit frustrated. We're not saying he had to walk directly onto the highway. He could have just walked in that direction and then stopped and then did something. Or someone caught up with him from either end. Just little suggestions here and there. What else do we have for Justin? And just for the record, Jack said his phone pinged there. That's why he took a polygraph. That was back in April 2024. He said that. Oh, right. So the mention by Brooke mentioning that there were phone pings over in that direction along the highway to prove that people were searching for Noah. Does that link on with the two phone pings which were near to Noah's body? But then it would be a counterpoint for someone like Jack to reiterate, whether it be what he knows, what he was told by police, that, oh, the phone pinged near to the body because of a bad signal. Oh, so where was the true signal at? Where was the true ping at? Not along the highway. As for the other phone ping that was near to the body, was that a result of an individual, one of the searchers, looking for Noah along the highway or not? He also stated he passed another lie. In the past, it was worded as if, what's his name now? Jack Newton passed the polygraph test, and then later it was referred to as inconclusive. I remember that. Moving on. We got Jamie, or Jamie. Oops, well, there's no E on it, so we'll call it Jamie. Early on, Brooke Bounce-Carter said 2 witnesses saw Noah walk off. Interesting to see the actual partygoers and witnesses, not sure who it was. Well, 2 witnesses saw Noah walk off. Well, those 2 witnesses, could it be both Avery and Logan then? Possibly. In any other place but there, if someone pinged right near a deceased person right about the estimated time of death, he was a very inconsistent alibi of where he was, what time he was in bed, etc. Had multiple altercations with the deceased, charges would be rolling out. He will start talking, facing charges. So, let's just say it's true that the time of death was 4 a.m, and at 4:30, some of the partygoers had already returned back to the house and taken that selfie with Logan and Carter. So probably 4 a.m. at a time of when the people were out searching. So they didn't reach the area, but whilst the people were out searching at the time of when Noah took his final breath, that is a bit of a weird feeling, is it not? And as we said, that's what Jack Newton said. It could either be interpreted that's what he witnessed and he knows the time, or he was told that time, like an estimate. And even if that time of death is an estimate, it's just a creepy feeling to know that you were out there supposedly searching. So close but so far away, completely oblivious to the fact that Noah's final breath was kind of around the corner or so. I mean, would it have made a difference if they had found him earlier? Probably not. But let's just see. Get social hosting charges out. I even saw Robin Smith recently on the discussion page say they aren't entirely against the charges being pressed. Wait, what? When did that come about? I don't remember seeing that. Is this just in... Oh, Jamie. So, or Jamie. But yeah. When was this mentioned about Robin Smith on a recent discussion page? The case discussion page, is that the one you're referring to? Because at least when it came to just before the first anniversary of Noah's death, Robin Smith and more so Ashley Chadwick were very firm on the social hosting charges not being followed through with. It was a bad idea. It wouldn't be worth doing. It wouldn't lead to much. It might actually harm the case. So that's very interesting how things have turned about there. I want to know other people's reactions. There's so much to it, I'm sure. But in doing so, in getting those girls behind bars, the property owner behind bars, those who know who did this to Noah will force the guilty to come forward. Let the small town power work in Noah's favour. Rally for the social hosting charges with the death of a party goer, and those powerful people will force the person to talk. Oops. There's already stuff that has happened that hasn't been discussed on these pages. There's already stuff that has happened and it's not been talked about. Well, why not elaborate on it right now? What are you referring to? Let's see. Of course not now they got CRS syndrome. What? Jeremy, I bet they start remembering who did this to Noah once they're sitting in a cell knowing they have a few years. I bet someone even starts talking in charges. These people aren't built for prison time. Sherry, I said that since I started following Noah's case, if Ellie would just start with the party host and property owner being behind bars for the charges they deserve, in my opinion, force the others to come forwards. Ashley says, what kind of stuff happening that hasn't been talked about? Exactly. No response though. Does anyone know? Dobbs, wow, this is so crazy of how this has all played out, and I hope the people go to jail for the crimes. Oh, 19-year-old son, I'm livid. Bernie, wasn't it Bump Ass that was interested in Logan? Oh, we're going back to this again. So, supposedly, JJ Bump Ass was not at the party at the time. The very first time round he went to that party house to meet up with Logan too was around the 21st or so, roughly, of December 2023. And it might have been November time when JJ was getting with Logan. So months before that, at the party itself, the party which Noah attended, Logan didn't know JJ, JJ didn't know Logan, so there wasn't that connection. What's here? Oh, caught with Logan Saturday night with Noah on the floor, leading to trouble, revenge possibly. When it said that Avery Combs threatened Noah as well over Noah and Logan sleeping together on the floor Saturday night. Yeah, it was along the lines of, I will kill you, but to be honest, that can be very loose language said by people like amongst friends and groups. Sherry, yes, but then his story changed to that he was asleep, so was he sleepwalking? Oh boy, not that. Beverly, is anything being done on this case? It seems like there has been nothing. Are the LE still questioning? Sure seems by now they could have figured something out. Maybe a petition should be started. So by Brian, Justin Roy. How would she know? What's this about? What page? Stevie Howard. I think Noah was on his way back. He said he was going to walk it off. Never knew Noah to be a liar. Yeah, he could well have been returning back to the party house but didn't make it back because he may have come across someone or some people. Based off a murder theory, at least. But to be going down the highway so far and then turn back and think, I'm going to head back now, then would that imply that the spot where Noah was found dead on the hard shoulder means he was actually further north at the time of when he was alive? And then he turned back and was heading south and then died that way. Luana, that was quite a feat if Jack Newton saw Noah walk off towards the highway from the bed. Oh, God. Yeah. Well, if it's one of those things where Jack states this and that, not from what he saw, but what other people had seen, so they pass it on to Jack, then my question would be, why is Jack the spokesperson, the representative of the other party goers? Why is it Jack doing that talking when it could be other people? You know what I'm saying? I mean, yes, you've had maybe Brooke at times and more so Sarah Long requote or restate things or roughly reiterate points, and that's on behalf of what they've been told by Jack, but it's not coming from Jack's first-hand witness account. Jack's basing it off what he's been told by other first-hand witness accounts. So it's truly third, fourth-party information, and it loses its, I guess, originality, I would say. All this is still interesting as for the discussions, and people are sceptical and questioning what's really going on here. What I'd like to focus in on is the search conducted, as I mentioned by Brooke. Well, what I can do right now is bring up the previous project I made in the past to do with a witness, a woman seeing a side-by-side appear unexpectedly along the highway going in an unknown direction, because we haven't heard it officially. I mean, Michael Faisgaz said heading back to the party house, so there's that. But that's at 5 a.m. The search ended just a bit before 4:30 a.m. from that Snapchat post and what Brooke had to say. So unless another search took place after 4:30 with the same people or a different set, who knows? But as for the colour coding where it's highlighted, well, the red line is basically roughly where it could have taken place coming across the side-by-side. Within the area, though, for it to be relevant to the party house if it had come or gone from there. Highlighted in yellow is just marking down to the river area, but we can use it as a little pointer. Because my questions are, when the search started, which consisted of, supposedly, what Brooke says, everybody who was present at the party, excluding those who were asleep. So that would be probably Caden, Mikey, Brylan, Isaac, Jack Newton, maybe, maybe not. The rest, party girls, Texas boys going out searching and helping one another. See, Brooke Bounds Carter worded it as, I've not been told, or I can't remember, roughly along the lines of what we saw a bit before about no one driving down the highway, but we saw another statement elsewhere on Facebook about Texas boys giving the girls a lift about when searching, which would imply involving a vehicle or vehicles, but nevertheless, it still seems a little bit dangerous. But, a search conducted because there is a level of concern. Let's not forget, though, what Sarah Long said about the night before Noah wandered off and you went searching for him. You found him and brought him back to the house. What that's all about. It gets kind of forgotten about. My question would be, when Noah Presgrove supposedly walked away from the house the night before and it required people to go searching for him, as in a level of concern, what, you had a repeat performance of that on the Monday? Was it the same direction? How true is it, though, at the end of the day, what Sarah says? She wasn't there. So where did she get her info from? So there's always that little side note. But focusing on around 3:30, from what Jack says, the time of when Noah walked away, 3:41, Jasmine Millan does a Snapchat post announcing, well, Noah's missing, but not in a super serious way. And then at some point it clicks, we probably should go out searching. Did people split up in groups? Where did individuals go? Was it more so, well, from what this or that person remember seeing, Noah walked off east towards the highway. Maybe not so much onto the highway, but just in that direction. Would that mean that everybody followed lead and went that way, walking down the dirt path? And what were they using at the time? Torches, flashlights. If they're not using a vehicle, they would need some kind of sufficient light source, would they not? Phone cameras, torches from there. Or, why not take that thermal scope off the AR-15, I think it was, rifle of Jack's. Take off the thermal scope and use that thermal scope to locate Noah. Could be possible, right? But did they not think of doing that? Take in mind on both sides it is fenced off, but you can get onto the field somehow at least. Reference in Partisan True Crime interview that I think it came from Jack's mouth, the possibilities that maybe he could be in the field somewhere laying down, and when it gets too hot he would return back to the house. Right, so that's normal. That's what normally would happen in the past. Noah's wandering about or laying in a field just randomly. Okay. Well, it just so happens that there are fields nearby. So did any of the party goers during that 1 hour search look about the fields? Down here, up that way north, does anyone know? Quite a bit to cover. Depends what the vegetation levels are like. If it's quite low or flat, it'll be easier to search lightly. If it's raised, it might take more time, like finding a needle in a haystack. Especially if you're not flying over. When you look at missing person cases, a LiDAR, a flyby, helicopter, easier and more time efficient. If you're walking on ground level, slows you down a lot. But it's interesting because the term wheat field by, I believe, Sarah Long, that if Noah, his teeth were in the field and partygoers had to collect those teeth in the field of Noah and then take it all to the highway to dispose of his body, it just doesn't seem likely. Why are we so specific about a field? Because before what Sarah said, I think most of us weren't exactly thinking about going into a field. So why would she bring that specific example up? That was a little bit eye-opening and an alternative possibility. But then again, maybe Sarah said it, influenced by what Jack had said in the background, which we later heard publicly in Partisan True Crime about going into a field, laying there and returning back. That basing the environment off where Noah could be, but the impossible concept of being murdered out there in a field, it just wouldn't all tie in. Maybe in the mindset of what Sarah's trying to get at, tying one thing with another to contrast with a certain theory. I don't want to put too many markers down because it could get messy. So let's just say we start with the highway. Walking down, on foot, really, no vehicle, crossing the tracks to get onto the main road here. Heading which direction? Because it's okay seeing Noah walk this way, but what direction do you walk in once you get to the highway along the side, walking down? And did any vehicles pass by at the time of when partygoers were searching along the highway? Because really, and I'm just basing it off what I saw from that comment by Brooke Bounds Carter, if it's misinterpreted, add a correction down below. If no vehicles are used but you're walking down the highway, they're not probably thinking at the time. But talk about it's ironic of a possible hit and run with Noah Presgrove. And if that really was the case, you got other party goers in the same position of Noah. So you're saying that there's a small chance that if things had gone wrong, it could be multiple people involved in a hit and run to some extent. Doesn't sound too good. If a vehicle was used though to get up and down, that would make sense, but it would also mean the job being done quicker. See, an hour-long search in this area, how much distance was actually covered in vehicle or on foot? On foot would take longer. So, for example, from the party house down to where Noah's body was found at, roughly speaking, I know I've got the marker on the grass, that's incorrect, it should be here, roughly here, it's just because it must have moved when I was editing in the past, but nevertheless, from roughly here, can I do the little marker thing, roughly there, back down to the party house, it would take maybe 5-6 minutes or so if you was in a vehicle, and depending what speed you were going at. But if you was walking from the house to where Noah's body was found, or just a bit before it, it would probably take, well, it would take much longer, maybe 10-15 minutes long, if not 20, depending what pace you're walking at and if you stop or start. So you can see how time-consuming it can be if you are walking about. And the only reason why you'd be walking about is because you've been drinking and you're not allowed to drive. So you're putting your life at risk in order to look for your friend. And you assume that he's along the highway because you saw him head in that direction. And by the time you reached the end of the property line or the site of the final house, you couldn't find him, you couldn't see him. So you thought, right, we'll go onto the highway and then we'll walk down it. And from what Brooke says, so far down to the first entrance of the sand plant or quarry, whatever you want to call it. So they actually went north. But was that the first choice, the first decision made once the partygoers arrived along the highway? Because what about south? Why not go south and search down there if there's a couple of ditches along the way? Maybe the train of thought with people was, let me just zoom in, walking down this way east, just like Noah did at some point, probably going over the crossing too. Maybe looking about briefly across the fields from side to side, no sign of him. Did any of the partygoers search about that house over there, abandoned or not, in use at the time, or vacant? Could Noah have been hiding in one of the rooms, leaning up against the tree nearby? Did partygoers walk over that way just to have a quick look whilst they were there? Because you've got to fill in the time of an hour at least. And then I guess you might naturally think about heading north and walking so far down because you might remember, well, Noah wanted a lift back home, so was there a chance he was heading down that way? See, this is the thing. If you're walking away to cool off, you might cover so much distance, but to be going this direction, it just doesn't make sense. Let me put it into perspective. Let's say you're at a house, gets too much at a party, you need to cool off. You leave the house, you walk to the nearest park. Okay, that's normal. Well, let's flip it another way around. You're at a house party, it gets too much, you need to cool down, get some fresh air, so you decide to walk a few miles or just under and head to the nearest train station and stand about just to cool off. Not to use it as a mode of transportation to get back somewhere, but you just specifically go to a train station or a bus terminal to cool down and then think, right, I'll turn back and go back to the house. That doesn't make as much sense. I'm trying to apply it to here. You've got a bloody rural area, have you not? You've got enough places and opportunities to go to in order to get a peace and quiet and silence. Why would Noah choose the highway as a place to cool off when really I don't think you would be cooling off or feel relaxed being on a highway, walking down in the dark and possible oncoming traffic at some point, or the possibility of it taking place? Surely you'd be more on edge and a little bit wary. But what frame of mind was Noah in at the time? Did he care or not? Yeah, there's grass nearby and there's like little ditches where he could have been or had been in the past, or in other environments, different locations had been in the past, but was it along a main road, a highway, or not? Either way, party goers searching about, going up this way, walking or not, taking a bit of time up, looking about. What conversations took place during the search? Was it serious discussions, signs of worry, concern, crying, arguing, blame game, or not? See, what time was it when Avery and Carter had that argument at the front porchway, or on the front porch outside of the house? Was that before or after the search conducted? We interpreted it as, well, after Noah walked away, but before of hearing the news of Noah's death, the blame game of, oh, you should have let Noah sleep in your room maybe. Oh, we should have done this, we should have done that. How could we let Noah walk away? Not that that's what exactly was talked about, but just interpreting it as a possibility. But there is footage of it, supposedly, which has been mentioned a couple of times now. Was it mentioned by Caden or others? It could have been mentioned by Caden. And someone recorded it. And why did that someone record it then? But I'm just interested, the argument between Avery and Carter, front porchway outside, whether the Ringer doorbell camera picked up on it or not, whether it was working or not. An event like that supposedly did happen, and it was about Noah, but at what time, before or after this search conducted? If anyone knows, feel free to add it in. But what we need to do is get to the first sand plant entrance, and this is just based off my interpretation of a sand plant entrance, more so on the left-hand side. I don't think we've reached it just yet. Be sure to leave your thoughts and comments down below, and even in the live chat if you're present. I want to know your thoughts. Did people really go out of their way to search for Noah and head this far down on foot? Which side of the road would they be walking on? You'd think the left with oncoming traffic, as they would be able to see you. Now, you could also say, why would they even head north though when they could have gone south? Well, like I said, if Noah wanted to lift back, and the fact that Noah lives north, 42.4 miles north. That's quite some distance. An attempt made to walk it back. Is that why partygoers decided to head in this direction, just in case Noah had planned that or made the decision on the spot erratically? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking this is the sand plant entrance way. Some gravel there, loose gravel, interesting. Track marks, as you can see. And that sign, I think that means rail road. Little box there. It goes all the way down to, I think, the quarry of some sort. So basically, Brooke's saying they made it so far down here to at least the first entranceway and realised there was no sign of Noah along, okay? But unknown to them, further down that way, not too far away, Noah's body was down there. From this distance, you probably wouldn't see, especially in the dark, and I guess with the lighting, what they may have had, if it was on foot, wouldn't have worked. There's a small chance that if the partygoers were present here at this entranceway, and if they had that thermal scope detached from the rifle and were pointing it down that way, they might have seen Noah's body. But then again, isn't a thermal scope where it picks up on heat levels? And if someone has died, already dead, would they pick up on the scope or not? Guess it depends how fresh it is and how long he's been left for and the time of death too. But you can understand partygoers if they had been searching only going so far down, because it will just go on and on and on. And you might start questioning to yourself, would Noah really walk this far down? Would he cover this much distance? No. Okay, he might have gone so far in the past. He might have ended up in a field or a ditch, but he wouldn't have gone this far. So it seems unlikely. And then they turn back, returning back to the house. At that time, did the Texas boys just go home? Not the house of the party, but wherever they live. Was that the case? Interesting. And what was the mood, the atmosphere like? Okay, at 4:30 a.m. we see Carter Logan. They look sad, but that could be not. It may not link to the search being unsuccessful. It might actually link to people just being at the party, change of mood, harmless selfie. But was any documentation of evidence, video recordings, photos, any Snapchat post during the search? Does that exist? That would be interesting to know. It's like, to be honest, kind of like when it comes to other activities about the property or across the field, like when you had the Ford Ranger of Jack's driving along Sunday across the field, you had Caden, you had Noah, Jack, I think Brylan, Isaac, I don't know about Mikey, don't know if he was there or not, driving across the field shooting animals, which seems a bit reckless. I'm surprised no one recorded that as like a Snapchat. You know, when you get some like little wild events or jumping over that gap in the vehicle and it being a rush to people's minds. Was that recorded? Was there any Snapchat footage there? Just bits and bobs, just to understand what the atmosphere was like at the time. Was it tense? Was it relaxed? The same with the search conducted at a supposed time. And if there are phone pings that prove that they were down here, was there any footage, photos taken, any selfies? And some people could say, why would they do that? That would be disgusting. Well, they seemed quite okay taking selfies once they got back to the party house and didn't seem too fazed by it. So, you know, anything's possible. But once again, when it comes to a photo, there's only so much you can interpret from it. An interpretation may not be the true reality or outcome of what's going on behind the camera or in their mind at the time. But you've also got to show a bit of leniency and understand that, well, if there is a video footage, and talk the talk and show it, then there might be a bit more clarity. In the meantime, just base it what you can interpret. So back to this part. There's a great area and a radius. How much of this area and land was truly searched within an hour, if anyone knows? Besides just going up the highway and then back down, was anything else searched, or was there just not enough time? And what was the first plan of action as to where they went? Did they go south? I mean, did they go east? Did they go west? Because that's another possibility. Obviously, if you saw Noah go east, you wouldn't go this way down here. Unless you ran out of ideas and options and thought, oh, maybe somehow at some point Noah made it back to the party but did not enter in the house and then decided to go down this way to the woodland area and what? Beyond to the Red River? Seems a bit of a stretch. But did any partygoers come down to this lighthouse, this trailer area, knock on the door, look inside, go around the back just in case? How much was truly covered when searched? That'd be good to know. So now we've transcended upon the comment section of the latest video that I've done, because I just want to catch up there, and some of which will be to do with the search for Noah. So Popsky says, hope everyone's day has been good with a robot. Didn't get notification. Unfortunately, that is down to YouTube at the end of the day. IT problems. To be fair, internet has been a bit dodgy on and off and a bit laggy here and there. So who knows? You know, people's Wi-Fi boxes as well may struggle at times. And is that another job for Warlight Raf yet again? It might be. It might be, Strawberry. Anyway, Tammy, I don't believe anyone went to sleep. Really? So you mean Caden Pressey as well? Interesting. Safia, I've always said Noah's time of death was between 3 in the morning and 3:30. At 3:41, in my opinion, they already knew he was dead. There's no way he walked away at 3:30. Why is that, though? To be honest, Safia, the way to truly work it out would be to get the true timestamp of the video footage of the shower, right? Because if the shower is maybe around 3:30, well, no, not at 3:30, close to 3:30, which would be a bit of a stretch, I know, but if we just knew some of these events in between leading up to Noah walking away at the supposed time of 3:30, if the video clips and screenshots showed, a relevant time, then it might reinforce. But as for people's responses, Mark, someone will eventually have to ask themselves, was it worth it? The only positive that's being gained is hopefully they've learnt their lesson, that there are consequences for your actions. But who's paid the price? The consequences, not seen any. I've always had the thought that it was before the resetting of phones at 3:15. Sherry says, same. Well, then you might have to bring it back to what Caden Pressey said in the private interview. At around 3:20 in the morning, Caden did not see Noah inside the house. He just assumed that Noah was still there. Does that mean anything to you? Let me know. Maria says, hi, Wallite Raf. Those two girls, Logan and Jasmine Milan, in that picture, right, I don't even think they went out looking for Noah. Right, so Maria is referring to Logan, not Jasmine Milan, but Carter Combs, that 4:30 a.m. Snapchat, interpreting from what's mentioned here. And she believes that they didn't go searching for Noah. Jasmine Milan has a glass in her hand. Oh, you mean Carter Combs has a glass in her hand. So it seems like they were not looking for Noah. Well, if the search had taken place before that, then getting back to get a drink, it could make more sense. And from what Brooke said, Carter wasn't drinking alcohol. It was just maybe water or so. Maria says, so I think they are reading maybe a text they received from the party goers that Noah Presgrove is dead, and this is why their faces, impressions look like they're sad, even if they took a selfie. My opinion, fair enough. Fair enough. Brooke, thanks, Raf. I was in and out today, but whilst I was there, good job. Appreciate that. Let me know, Brooke, how the hair looks on me. Real facts, but if Jack was asleep, how does he know that Mikey was still awake? It would make more sense that he was asleep at 5:27 and then you literally taken 5:30 as the exact time that he woke up. I'm pretty sure he didn't look at his clock either. Could have been 5:35. We don't know. These are things we don't know. So in response to that, there was a handful of people last night that were very passionate and was suggesting that, yeah, the 5:27 Snapchat post of what appears to be Mikey asleep don't mean to say he was truly asleep. He could have been resting. He could have just had his eyes closed and he was still awake. There are counterpoints. But once again, it depends how you interpret it. Julie, sorry I joined the live premiere late. Just wanted to give my honest opinion. Noah never walked away without assistance. Noah needed assistance with the shower and eating, correct? Well, supposedly, yeah, but in between those two events, Noah was also supposedly seen teabagging people by himself. He didn't have assistance with doing that. So it depends how you look at it. Julie says, how would Noah be able to walk by himself? He wouldn't. I believe Noah was brought back to the party house after what happened, the rollover, washed off, taken to the highway, dropped off, prayers for Noah's family and friends. How incapacitated would Noah truly be? We would have to see the footage, wouldn't we, of the side-by-side rollover, or at least after that with the shower. How incapacitated? How vulnerable was he really? Is that why Noah wanted to sleep in one of the girls' beds? Because he was that incapacitated? Robbie Taylor, just got to the finish. They just keep getting better and better. Great job, Raf. Appreciate that, Robbie. Shout out. Elijah, appreciate that. CC, what was the timestamp of the rollover photo and who has it? Was it 2:41 a.m.? No, it was 2:40 a.m. from what Caden said in his interview. Take on time to shower and eat. It's definitely past 3 in the morning when he could possibly have left. Yeah. And I guess that's what Safia was getting at, in between 3 a.m. to 3:30 when the death took place, the time of death. CC, I'd call that person's parents and consult with them on what to do, and no, definitely wouldn't be taking selfies after searching for and not finding a friend who's missing. I'm sure the witness did speak for themselves. She told a friend, who knows how many others she communicated this to, This was regarding the person that allegedly saw the side-by-side. Just to rest, she said Carter Combs didn't go to sleep. That Snapchat photo shows Mikey with his eyes closed with two girls who are wide awake. No chance, in my opinion. He has his eyes closed only. That's all I can say about that photo. Okay. I mean, couldn't there be like a possibility that Mikey may have been asleep, two girls jumped on him to mess about, make noise, take a photo, and then it woke Mikey up and he's like, oh, what are you doing? And he's got his arm over him, closing his eyes because he doesn't want to be in the photo or something. Depends how you look at it. Skippy, Texas boys. So many questions. We know they were at the party but don't know how many nor their names, although a few names have been posted online. Well, I don't remember seeing them. We know they were riding the side-by-side when it flipped along with some of the local party goers, but we don't have many details. Well, we've been told from the likes of Brooke Bounds Carter that the Texas boys were supposedly in that side-by-side rollover as passengers, but we don't have any physical evidence to reinforce it at this moment in time to the public knowledge and the surface level. The ME report states several men were on the side-by-side and we've learned some were locals, but we don't know their ages. Adolescents in between ages 10 to 19. A juvenile is under 18. So what age does Ellie and ME use for their definition of men? Is that a generic statement for any male regardless of age? Did the Texas boys join Jack Newton, Carter Combs and who else on this ATV when it went looking for Noah? Seems the side-by-side can fit 6 or so many people on it during the search. Well, from what Brooke said, I interpreted it as no vehicle was used when searching, which is something else. If they did not join the search, did they stay behind at the house whilst Jack Newton was searching? I think it was depending on how you interpret the language, what we saw previously with Carter Combs is that once they got back at around 4:30 or just a bit before, and Jack Newton was woken up, I think. It was confirmed, but then that would have been later on. Oh, well, whatever. It was confirmed they left the party house after Noah walked off, but did they leave before the search started or after the searchers returned? It had been suggested Noah fell out of the back of their truck, but they would have driven south, not north, to head back to Texas. Yeah. Whereas Noah was found north of the second sand plant entrance. Yeah. Searchers only went as far as the first. Yeah. Partygoers thought Noah walked off or went to sleep in the back of a truck, as they said he's done before. So did they check the truck beds? But the only truck to have left after Noah walked off was the Texas boys, and they would have headed south towards Texas. Then he couldn't have gotten in the back of any truck. Okay, some interesting comments there. Response-wise, always felt Texas boys needed to be investigated. Have they, though? We share more publicly on what happened Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Oh, yeah. But in order to fall out of a truck, the tailgate would have to be down, and if the tailgate is down, you would notice someone laying down back there. If he stood up whilst it was driving down highway, passengers would definitely see it. The theory never made sense to me. Right, so AF is kind of on the same wavelength as what I was getting at in my last video, which is good to see. Skippy. Agree, they would have seen him. Some posters may argue the driver and passengers may not have seen him since it was dark and they were also probably under the influence, but then again, whose truck would have crawled into? BBC only said Texas boys left after Noah walked off, but they would have headed south towards Texas away from where Noah's body was found. It was also Stevie Howard that mentioned it in that order and also said about the cameras only working at the time of when the Texas boys left after Noah walked away. But unfortunately, that post is hard to find now. I wonder why. One day at a time, did Jack Newton search for Noah? Check the sign-in sheet at Dove Hunt. Yes, Jack, Carter and possibly others went looking for him. I thought Jack was asleep, though. I don't know. It depends how you interpret the language and wording, because some had commas and others didn't in the sentences. I haven't seen confirmation of who the others were. BBC confirmed they rode on Jack Newton's side-by-side. They didn't take any other vehicles for the search. They went only as far as the first sand plant entrance. Okay, so I'll just have to double-check and read the thing by Brooke later, unless I'm getting confused. Really interesting points. Now, I read at one time, heard Texas boys were cleared, but I might be wrong. Renee, which is odd because the side-by-side headlights would have caught a glimpse of something up to the next entrance, straight road, no hills. Yeah. And Avery's name is never mentioned hardly at all when Carter, Logan and Jasmine's names are. Is it because she's not selfish like the other girls are? Last her name comes up is when her and her sisters were fighting, but at what time were they fighting though? Before or after the search? One day I don't recall ever reading or hearing about Jack Newton being one of the people to search for Noah. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that either. There's also a thermal gun on property, so I wonder if they took that to search. To be honest, I don't think they would. Except that Ken Presley mentioned it during his interview. There were several types of market. Yeah, I'm sure Ken said it could have been used, but wasn't. Right. Sorry, had to dash. Wasn't well at all. Get well soon, Popsky. It's unfortunate. Miss. Okay. Whatever's going on there. Sure, I question why Caden Pressey was told to leave the scene, but Jack Newton was allowed to stay. Well, probably because Jack Newton got there before Caden, and the truckers believed more in Jack than Caden, thought maybe Caden and the others were like audience members, rubber banding or rubbernecking, whatever you call it. Didn't want too many people on the scene because it could be problematic, or for more suspicious reasons. If Jack was there first, maybe before the truckers or after, based on Caden's timeline, if we're talking about that more so, could Jack have introduced himself clearer to the truckers and they believed him more than the others? Who knows? Also, why didn't any of those kids call 911 for Noah, accident or not? Why didn't Jack Newton call 911 before he went back to the party house to tell the others? Quite surprising, actually, who allegedly told Caden to leave the scene. I'm surprised Caden can't remember this. So, well, one of the reasons why Caden didn't identify at least one of the truckers was because he never saw him. As for the other guy, didn't really know who he was. As for names, weren't introduced on first name basis. In terms of why the other guys and Caden did not call police is because if you're late to the party, no pun intended, and there's already people there on site, you would assume that they would have made the first call and you wouldn't need to. The exception would be if Caden and the guys stuck around long enough, they may have questioned why the police not coming and made a call themselves. And if that had happened, they may have found out that, oh, these current people that are there did not take action. Interesting. What else do we have? Oh, God. With all the lies and timeline differences, it isn't any wonder this case is taking so dang long. In my opinion, they need to start arresting all the ones who are still at the party house Sunday night, and I can guarantee ones of those kids start spewing the truth. There are also 3 different stories about where Caleb Newton was when he received the message from Jack, all different times and locations. So where are the different times and locations then, if they can be listed down below? What time were the 2 girls arguing about Noah being gone? Exactly when would be interesting to know. And what about exactly? Sherry, as usual, great video, Raf. In my opinion, there were also hearsay being put out from the ones not even at the party and more from the ones who were there. This case would probably already be solved. Appreciate that, Sherry. Thanks for watching. Glenn as well. Check out the list of what they didn't do versus what they actually did do that night and then that morning. Example, denied a ride home, denied medical attention. Oh, that's talking about the bite mark, but that supposedly doesn't link because it didn't happen at the time. Denied a place to sleep. Denied knowing him, deleted phones, all had cell phones in their pockets, trucks, cars, adults nearby, misinformation to his family, cell phone found in side-by-side I heard, lies information not adding up, timeline, phone pings, key locations, no invite for feds, my understanding, no press conference, no civil right lawsuit filed. What did they do that night and the morning that actually helped Noah in this case? So he's saying what action was taken that was done for the right reasons to actually solve, resolve, and find Noah. And there's more negatives outweighing the positives, I think. Safia, what a surprise, Jack has lied again. Miss, search, whatever that's about. Okay, whatever's going on there. Thanks, Warlike Raf. Amazing video. I know I've said it a few times. I wouldn't want to be labelled a liar. You're not a liar. No. But best video in a while. Well done. Appreciate that, Popski. Shout out. Good individual. An interesting profile picture. Linda, they should have did the search when it happened. That they're going to find now everything is probably gone. Little Raf, I really need you to reach out to me. Well, you can always reach out to me because I've got all the links and the different social media pages. And what do we have here? No problem. Pop. Always do what I can. Clipped again last night. Need to get better at it. Believe clipping can be long. Was there happy last night. Was sat with an amazing coffee. As like you, I don't drink. Or the why is different. And then, don't know why, but great video anyway. You should have a lot of pride. Okay, appreciate that. That's all good to see. And that's pretty much it there for the comments. So I just wanted to add on, Brooke says, I was never told that the kids were driving a vehicle. So that could be interpreted as if you were never told that they were driving. There's a possibility that they were just walking. But it would make sense for them to be driving more so than walking, right? Based off common sense. On the basis that if they were driving about searching, well, then that would mean it being covered in a quicker amount of time. So there would be more places to be able to search and locate them within an hour, right? But if you're walking on foot, well, that's going to fill out the time more just by doing some straight walk north. If it can take 5, 10 or 10 to 15 minutes walking, if that includes there and back or one way and then back, that adds on time to the 1 hour time frame. If you're just driving, it could take maybe 5, 6 minutes, which could be done quicker, and then elsewhere could be searched. But where would elsewhere be? So hopefully you found this video somewhat interesting. If you want to add any corrections, extra details, you can do so down below in the comment section. Feel free to hit the like button, that'd be appreciated, and share the video so more people get to see this. Because if a search supposedly took place, it's good to know at what time it started and where the searches were done. Okay, maybe the end point was the first sand entranceway to that quarry, and beyond was where Noah truly was at. So it's unfortunate if that's the case. You could imagine in that scenario how people could feel knowing that they were so close but at the same time so far away from Noah. But if they had found him at that time, would it have made a difference? Probably not, due to those injuries and the extent of it. But nevertheless, we'll leave it there for now. We'll see what happens next. My name's Warlike Raf. Thanks for watching, goodbye and good night.